So right now we have a solid is made from a hemisphere and a cylinder. The plane face of the hemisphere coincides with the upper plane face of the cylinder. Okay, so this, we are going to need two pieces of information before we can go any further. So, well, we're going to need one piece from here. So let's have a little look. We now know that the volume of a sphere equals 4/3 pi r cubed. And we know that the volume of a cylinder equals pi r squared h. Okay, well that's two things that we know, so we'll write those down and then we'll hope that that kind of gets us going in the right direction. So we know, let's write this in, so volume of sphere equals 4/3 pi r cubed. So that means that volume of a hemisphere equals 2/3/3. We could do 4/6, but that will give us 2/3 pi r cubed. And then we know that volume of a cylinder equals pi r squared h. Now, I was quite tempted to do something a bit weird, but I'm not going to do that. So now we know, these are the two things we now know on top of this. We know that the ratio of the radius of the cylinder to the height of the cylinder is 1:3. Okay, so now in this case, we can write this. So pi, so that means if we know that the radius equals 1, then the height equals 3r. So if the radius equals r, then height equals 3r. So we know the volume of the cylinder would be pi r squared 3r. Oh, good, that's not 3, is it, idiot? Don't do negative self-talk. I'm allowed to. So 3r, which in that case would equal pi 3r cubed. So we've got information, we've taken that information and put it into there. Now, given that the solid has a volume of 792 pi centimetres cubed, work out the height of the solid. So once we've worked out the r, once we've worked out radius, we then put it back into this and we'll find the answer. Okay, so we now know that the hemisphere would be 2/3 pi r cubed plus pi, or let's put the 3 out the front, 3 pi r cubed, and then that equals 792 pi centimetres cubed. Right, let's get rid of the pi's. Now, weirdly, I know we can't. So now we've got 3 2/3 pi. So what's 3 in terms of thirds? So that's 9. Let's make that 9/3. So that would be 11/3 r cubed equals 792. Okay. So now what we have to do is times out by 3 and divide by 11. So that would be 792 times 3 equals divided by 11. So that means that r cubed equals 216, which is lovely because I think if we cube root that, we will find that it's actually 6, I think. So that means r equals 6. But we haven't finished yet because we know the height is 3 times r. So if r equals 6, h equals 3r, so h equals 18 centimetres. And that's your answer. Now, the thing with this is to write out everything you know and write it out really clearly and then get rid of stuff. And that's nice. Okay, the graph of y equals sine x for 0 to 360 is drawn on the grid. On the grid, draw the graph, oh good lord, for y equals 2 sine x plus 30 for 0 to 360. Okay, so if you get a 2 in front, that means we spread out to 2. It means that were you to make 90, that would be there. So this would be just to write 2 sine of x would be this. I think I'm going to have to be careful with this because I'm going to have to then go through. Right. Now what we're doing is we're now shifting. It's plus 30, so that means we shift everything to the left by 30. So I'm now going to make that in green, and that's going to be my answer. So I don't love this. So that means that that goes there. It means that that goes there. It means that that goes there. And it means that that goes there. So that is our answer. I don't think... And then that is the peak, so that can go there. Right, that's how you do it, essentially. Now, write x squared minus 6x plus 10 in this form where a and b are integers. They're asking us to just complete square, so that would be, so we halve the coefficient of x, so it's x minus 3 squared, and then plus 10. Now, when we do minus 3 times minus 3, we do get this bit, but we also get an extra plus 9. So we have to take off the 9. So what we end up with is x minus 3 squared plus 1, which means that a equals 3 in this context, and b equals plus 1, or 1. There you go. Right, hence describe fully the single transformation that maps the curve with the equation y equals x squared, and then what happens there. So, this is a little tricky. So actually we could do this in a vector. So if it's x minus 3, that means that you would think it would be going to the left, but actually you map the exact way, the exact different way. So we go that way, and that means plus 3. So if we were going to put this in a vector, that would be in the form 3, 0. Now, just going up literally means going up 1. So that's in a vector 0, 1. So if we put that together, we can do a transformation or a translation in the form 3 over 1. And that gives us the answer. Now, this one looks a bit complicated. How fun. ABCD is a kite where AB equals AD. So that would be A, B, D, and that's C, I'm assuming. C, that's what kites look like generally, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. But B has the coordinates 10, 19. And D is the point 27. Now, if I was to draw this properly, it wouldn't look anything like that, but I'm not going to worry about it for a moment. Find the equation of line AC. So we're trying to find out what this is. So what we need to do is we need to find the equation of line BD first. So BD, we know, so y equals mx plus c. So to do this, we've got 2 points on it. So B is 10, 19, and D is 2, 7. So in order to find out the gradient for this line, or M, or gradient, we are going to do, I'm going to mark this up and make that x1, y1. We're going to make this x2, y2, and we're going to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I think I might regret this, but it's fine. So that equals 7 minus 19 over, you could have done it the other way around now that I've looked at it, over 2 minus 10. And that equals 7 minus 19 is minus 12, and 2 minus 10 is minus 8, which works out at 12 over 8, which is, let's divide through by 4, so that's 3 over 2, or 1.5, but I'm not going to use 1.5. So that means so far we've got y equals 3 over 2x plus c, and I don't think we need to know what c is. And I'll tell you why, because all we're going to do now is we know that AC is perpendicular. Now, if we know something's perpendicular, then all we need to do is take the 3 over 2 and we do the negative reciprocal. So we know that y equals minus 2/3 x plus c. And then to find out, that's what we don't know. So to find out what c is, we are going to have to find out what the midpoint here is of b and d. So to find out the midpoint, let's go back, because otherwise we don't know a point on a and c. Okay, so to find out the midpoint, we are going to do midpoint of BD equals, so it'll be x1 plus x2, so 10 plus 2 over 2, comma 19 plus 7 over 2. Okay, so that would be 12 over 2 is 6, and 19 plus 7 over 2 is 30, so that's 26 over 2. So we found the midpoint. Now, what we need to do in order to find out the whole thing is to go 13 equals minus 2/3 times 6 plus c. So 13 equals minus 12 over 3 plus c. Minus 12 over 3 is minus 4, so 13 equals minus 4 plus c. C, add 4 to both sides, so c equals 17. So now we've got y equals minus 2/3 x plus 17, and we don't need it in that format, we need it in another format. So we need it in py plus qx equals, so we can leave the 17 on one side, so we'll add y plus 2/3 x equals 17, and times through by 3, and we get 3y plus 2x equals 51, and that, I think, is, oh no, it's not, we've got one more thing to do. Okay, right, let's have a little look at this. So, a part